So, I think there's this whole wave of misunderstood feminism which says that you can have it all today. Do you want some water, something to drink? Okay. You can have it all today. So you can lean in, like Sheryl Sandberg said, at work. You can have the perfect marriage. You can have the best bodies. Your derriere can look like Beyonce's, and your thighs can look like Kim Kardashian, and so on and so forth. But I think by accepting this, we are actually making it harder for ourselves. This is again we can't really have it all. Let's just face it and give either make the most of what we can give our best to, because when you give too many hours at work, you realize your kids are neglected, and when you give too much time at home, the way it happens with Natasha, you realize that your own identity is now subsumed in your role as a wife and a mother. And I don't know how it's working out for Karan as a parent and a career man and everything. How is it working out for you?
No, but it's not easy. I have to say, it's there is a balance. That, like, to answer your question, that there's no such thing as having it all, because that's a point that's very subjective. I mean, there is like what is all to me may not be all to you, and so it's like there's no. And I think it's very boring to even say. I've never met a single person. If I was to hire you, and very rarely you'll find a person, I'm very happy. You don't hear that. And even if they're saying it, I think they're lying. So there's no such thing as a constant state of satisfaction or happiness, and that's okay. You're meant to go through your days, your ups and downs in your day, and it's okay. And like you brought up me parenting at this age, and it's not been easy. It was tough, but it's something that I really wanted, and I feel much more complete today as a result of it. And I think that's what really matters. And I think time management is really overrated. It's really overrated. I think 24 hours are like a lot for you to do, a lot to sleep, to exercise, to love, to work, to do everything. There's a lot of time. I also believe that it's important to surround yourself with the kind of people that can make you a better person. And I think that if you surround yourself with those people and you're going to be dressing for them and filling your face for them and doing all that, then, those are not true friendships. Those are frivolous friendships, and those are seasonal friendships. So I think sometimes in life it's important to go back to the people who are like your family, your close friends from the past, be it school, college, your childhood friendships that really keep you grounded, that can actually kind of love you for who you are and not what you want to be given the certain circumstance that surrounds you. Social media does have its pressures, but I think you can't live your life by those norms. I feel very bad for men and women who actually are changing themselves to please others. It's important to kind of make whatever change to make that peace within. I mean, I don't judge anyone who kind of touches their face or, does some kind of body sculpting, because if that makes you feel good for yourself, do what you need. But if you're doing it for X, Y, and Z so that they can love you and they can kind of lust for you, or they can admire you and they can think that you're looking hot, if you're doing it for them, then why are you doing it at all? Because, I've always believed that, at least I'd say for myself, that my life decisions have been for myself and for what I think is correct for me in my life. I don't think you should look at what your neighbor thinks or what your friends around you think, because then those are not friends. If you're looking at how many likes your picture has on Instagram, then you do not have a life. Well, in a sense, I feel like the sea link, because when I grew up, I stayed in Malabar Hill for 26 years of my life, and then I moved to Bandra for the remaining 21 to be exact. And I just feel like when I was in Bombay, that South Bombay, was a totally different world, than what it is today. It's much more crowded, and it was much more, there an old world charm about it. There were people who came from old money and had their own kind of, charm and self-worth and, flamboyance that was unique to them. I see that slipping away, being replaced by, the modernity of things. when I moved to Bandra, you know, it was a totally different hub. It was a bunch of self-achievers with the suburbs, this part of the city, Bandra and Juhu and beyond. There was a lot of self-achievement, there was a lot of hunger to achieve, there was a lot of individuals who made it on their own steam and not from family lineage or money. So literally across the sea link, I saw two different spectrums. I saw, like, for the lack of a better way of saying it, the so-called nepotistic gang that were actually leveraging parental wealth and status. And then there was like the single achievers who were like, who had moved in from elsewhere, you know, from other cities, moved into Bombay and were really trying to make it on their own. And now the Bombay that I know and where I'm at is full of that, which I'm really happy about. I see kids, and I'm always surrounded by a lot of achieving millennials and Gen Z guys and girls that are really wanting to make a place for themselves. There is ambition, but on their own terms. And that's what I think I really love, because we've all been ambitious, but sometimes your ambition has absolutely no cap. You know, you will do anything for your ambition. That's not the case with this generation, because their ambition has a boundary, you know. They will do it up to a point, and then they really want to have a good time as well. And I think they balance ambition and fun. So the city actually is doing just that right now, balancing ambition, but also having lots of fun. And I think when we grew up, the pressures were much higher. For some reason, because I think our parents of that generation gave us that pressure. And now the younger parents are not so pressurizing, because they don't want to be like how their parents were to them, you know. So it's like things have changed. It's like I can see the generation shift.
Okay. Is absolute honesty necessary for a healthy relationship, or is it sometimes better to let some things secret or keep them hidden or just keep them to yourself?
You must never be absolutely honest in any relationship. Some lies are very critical for the solidarity of a relationship and the solidness of a relationship.
Like, honey, you don't look fat in this
they're
hair oil.
No, they're not called lies. They're called creative adjustments. You know, you have to adjust a situation with a certain information, which you can term a lie, but to me, it's not a lie. It's the reality of your existence by not lying.
So clever. I'm just going to type all of this out, and that'll be the sequel to my
No, you
book.
can't. I always tell people, why do you have to give this information? If you did something that was incorrect, why are you lumbering your partner with that stress? If he or she doesn't need to know this, then do not tell them. Why then lie? Say, yes, it was lovely, missed you, thought of you, did nothing, slept early. It's okay. If it's a one-off thing, you went out partying, you had some flirty fun, but nothing really happened. Why do you want to give all that information that's going to make your partners think of all the things that you may have done which you didn't do? So just lie. Just lie. I do that with my mom all the time. She's the only like partnership I have right now. She's always thinking I'm at work post 9:30 or 10, because, you know, she feels bad when I stay away late because she thinks my health will suffer. I'm like, I was working till late and I was not doing any such thing. I lie all the time.
You know, my mom is in the front row, so thanks very much for that.
That's okay. I mean, sometimes you have to lie to mothers, because mothers, let me tell you, if you tell them the truth all the time, they will hold it against you.
That's true.
You lie to mothers and lovers all the time.
That's a lovely quote.
Do you want to answer that as well, or you
Forgot
just
the
letting him
question.
win?
No, I'm letting him win.
Better to be honest or lie, that's the question.
So there are some inconvenient truths, right? Like if there are some inconvenient truths. If you say, darling, do you find me boring? And the guy says, yeah, actually you're boring. Then, I mean, you don't want to hear that. And it's not going to, you can't go to bed on that, right? So I think there are some inconvenient truths that you need to mask.
Emotional cheating. Physical cheating you could even do if you have a thought in your head.
Is that considered physical cheating?
That is also physical cheating. If you're getting erotic thoughts in your head, that's also cheating. You know, so, you know.
Every man in this room is having a
So
scene
that-
with Sunny
that's what I
Leone
mean,
as we speak.
So acting on it, acting on that thought, and if it's just physical, that is something that you must discuss. That's what I was talking about. Emotional cheating is a larger problem. That means there is a problem in the relationship itself.
Right.
If there is emotional cheating, then there's a major issue in your relationship, and that must hit you hard. Physical cheating, you don't know what to do now. It's okay now, to each his own. Now one can't be like entirely like sad, like, you know, pretend like, you know, like it's not happening around us and that your life is a perfect, you know, detergent, which is all clean and clear. It's not like that.
Got it.
Favorite scene in the scene in the book is there's a big party scene where a lot of drama happens. You've read the book, so that is my favorite scene because it's quite unexpected. And a character that I was rooting for, I was rooting for the very misunderstood Trisha, who is having an affair, and who then, we paint a woman with the same brush and say, she's a horrible person, she's this, she's that. And so I wanted to show that you can be a person who will cheat, but you can still be a good friend to your friends, or maybe a good mother, because I didn't want to judge her. Of course, my favorite character is Natasha, who's the protagonist, who is judging her as we speak. But women have many nuances and layers, and I wanted to go beyond that and not brush them with the same stroke and place every blame at their door.
I mean, firstly, to address, you brought up infidelity earlier, and I actually made a film on the topic in
Yes.
2006,
Yeah.
which was 13 years ago, and I remember it was like, it had met with so many polarized responses, and it was very traumatizing for me because I came out of Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, which was all about loving your parents, and this was all about leaving your wife. So it was a kind of a digression from what I had done, and I still remember the night that the film had actually paid previews of, and I went to IMAX Vadala, and I was standing there, and I was standing there very nervous, and there was a scene where, the lead character, Shah Rukh and Rani, check into the hotel, for extramarital fun, and there was a very traditional looking couple sitting in the audience, and I was sitting right behind them, and the wife looked very traumatized when that happened, and the husband just tapped her and said, "Don't worry, it's a dream sequence." And when he realized that, no, this was a legit situation, it was not a dream sequence, they looked at each other angrily for some reason and then got up and left. And when I stormed out of that, because I was so nervous, I saw a lady crying, like a young girl weeping by a pillar. And her mother walked up to me, and I thought she's coming to give me a hug, because the girl was so affected by the movie or whatever. She said that, tumne banaya picture? So I said, haan. So she said, I brought my daughter out after a divorce, to give her a good night, to show Karan Johar film, and this is what you have made. So then I realized that actually we do brush the phenomena of infidelity, as rampant as it is around us. Like I was told, you've endorsed infidelity with that film, but I'm like, you cannot endorse something that's already sold out. It's rampant, it's around us, you can choose to believe it or not, that's up to you. If you're going to brush it under the carpet, it's your carpet, you deal with it. Because let me tell you, everyone around us is a subject of this phenomena, either in it, going through it, suffering from it, recovering from it, or indulging in it. It is happening. It's there.
Or know someone that it's happening to.
Oh, sorry?
Or at least
Oh,
know
definitely know
somebody.
some. How
Yeah.
could you not know someone who's having an affair? You have to know them. And I'm not saying that it's the right or the wrong thing. These are human reactions. I mean, these are human emotions, and they are out there. When you talk about what you asked about the double standards, so there is a certain level of hypocrisy that surrounds us. And I find, if you ask me, I find that hypocrisy very high in the highest levels of society. It's very surprising. You would think that intellectuals, affluent, educated men and women would actually have a broad mind to so many things, and you'll be surprised that that's not true. Sometimes I wonder what they do with their degrees and what they do with all their achievements and what they do with their international achievements when they cannot accept simple facts that sometimes love doesn't come with an age, love doesn't come with a sex, love doesn't come with any criteria but love. And you've got to accept it for what it is. And I just believe that sometimes the affluenza and the affluent society can be much more hypocritical than people of lesser income in our land and our country.
Yeah, well said, I think. Very well said. Yeah.
And I loved your movie, by the way. That film, I told you even at that time.
Yeah.
That's the third reason I had you here.
Oh, that's the third reason. It's kink.
Well, Divya, I want to say something here. I think that the inherent problem is with society not wanting women in desire to be to be used in the same sentence, okay? So the fact that a woman will look outside of marriage, whatever her circumstances be, it will be discouraged because it's somewhere acknowledging that she is an individual with desires. So a male desire is respected. Men get bored easily, a man wants an outlet, come on, blah, 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 blah. The physiognomy of a man is like that. But with women, we have to actually just basically overlook anything except the traditional role, which is